Welcome again this morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Today is an important meeting for us to share with our FIC members, as we will be going over our strategy for the upcoming year for 2022. And we have a lot of structure that we wanted to review with our members. So before we get to doing so, we will start off with our lobbyist, as usual, Chris Gray, to give us a short little update on what we have been doing this past week or since our last call. So,
thank you, Tricia, and good to see everyone again. And it is a relatively short update today, with Parliament still not sitting until the 22nd of this month. Hard to believe it's November already, but we did see cabinet made recently, and some interesting changes there. But what I did want to report on is that, as discussed at our last call, we have Sarah and Tricia were working on some letters to send out to some key ministers to press them on the subsidy issue, something that obviously that a lot of fitness facilities would obviously use and could use moving forward. So in short, the letters are out, and they say that Minister Freeland and the other ministers, we need fitness to be put on the same level playing field as hospitality and tourism. It's frankly just not fair that fitness has borne the brunt, as well as a lot of other industries, but fitness specifically, and we need to be on the same level playing field and receive the same amount of subsidies. So those are in play, and we will be following up with officials and political staff to continue to advocate on your behalf on that. So that is the short update on that, and we'll keep you posted on what we hear, and we will be looking for some meetings with Minister Freeland and Sarah in the coming weeks. It's a question come in, I think. Where was that?
Yeah, Jeff has just asked, has there been a lot of pushback from other industries over the ending of subsidies?
Yeah, Jeff, there has been, and in addition to ours, I know that I also know that we're members and we work with CFIB, and we've met with them before. CFIB and Dan Kelly, their head, has done a really good job at pushing back on this initially, and he even mentioned gyms in his tweets and so on. So I was pleased to see that he was talking about fitness facilities as well. To be honest with you, since that first initial few days or week, it's really quieted down from what I've seen, which is obviously not good, but we are here obviously to keep the pressure up on them, and so they don't forget about us.
Great, thank you for that question, Jeff. Does anybody else have any questions for Chris before we continue? All right, so if there are no other questions, feel free to, I see a question come in. Kelly has a question here. Has there been any coordination or benchmarking with IHRSA and or community gym coalitions, re the GYMS Act moving through the US Congress? So on that, we have not had the meetings with IHRSA when it comes to community gyms coalitions in the US, because we are focused on what is happening in Canada and what we can be a part of right now. And right now, because it is so focused on the Qs and the Kers, that is something that we want to make sure that we are targeting first before we go on to other pieces, because we don't want to lose focus of what the members are struggling with in the immediate moment.
And saying that, I'll maybe also just add that, Trish and I do sit on committees within IHRSA. And so we are up to date and having those conversations again, learning what we need to learn from it and take away, and what is kind of the information that we can translate into a Canadian context. as well as we have a relationship with the US Fitness Coalition, and we continue to track the work that they are doing. So all of that is about, we have relationships there. What is the most meaningful for us to use here in Canada is what we can take away, and we will continue to do that.
Great, thank you. Any other questions that we can cover on this topic? Feel free to put questions into the chat as well, and we can definitely circle back to it near the end of the meeting or during the meeting if it is relevant to the conversation at that time. So thank you, Chris, for that update. Now, today we wanted to speak to you about a strategic plan that the executive team has developed over the last couple months. And Sarah is going to be going over that with the group. And it is something that we have reviewed already with our board of directors, as well as our provincial council members. So with that, I will hand it off to you, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Tricia. So we really wanted to put something together for all of our FIC members to really understand what are our priorities, what are the things that we'll be working on and working towards in 2022. And I know that, you know, the power and the strength of FIC grew a lot over COVID, and we came together, and we want to maintain that togetherness. Our industry grew in strength and in partnership and in networking because of all of us coming together. And we were able to share with each other how we could learn and get through these really, really difficult times. And now it is time for us to start to move out of this and build an extremely strong organization and association for fitness, that where we don't have to fight with the federal government to say, hey, we want to be considered as tourism and hospitality. We should just be considered as tourism and hospitality. And how will we get there? Well, those are some of the things we're going to share with you today, but it also takes a bigger, a bolder voice, and it takes all of us continuing to stick together, continuing to learn from one another, and making our voice bigger and bigger and bigger. So we really are the Fitness Industry Council, is the trade association for the Canadian fitness industry. And it's really, really important that Canadian fitness facility owners really understand that. We truly want it to be that we are looked at as something that, just as people have to go in and get a local business license, they say, hey, I really want to be part of the trade association that supports my business, that protects our industry, and that helps my bottom line. So today we're going to go through, what is our BHAG? What is our big, our stretch goal that we want to achieve as an association? And then we're going to move into, what does it look like for 2022? And what do we want to achieve by the end of 2022? And then we're going to go into the 3 key areas that we will be working on in the next year. And we will take pauses throughout for you to ask questions, okay? And feel free to use the chat. And then when we pause, we'll look into the chat and be able to answer those questions at that time. In putting together our strategic plan here, this was a process over the course of several months by our executive team, Natalie, Scott, Carl, Tricia, and myself. And we really spent time digging into these areas, challenging each other, looking into it, adding things, taking things away. And then we reviewed this and had this approved by our board of directors. So this has been a very thoughtful process. It's been a process that wasn't just put together overnight, but it also is something that we want to be as meaningful as possible to you as our FIC members. So again, I would ask of you to, think when we are presenting these, bring questions forward, bring your thoughts and comments, because unless we hear from each and every one of you, we can't take more action, or we can't tweak and improve things based on the togetherness of our voices. So Our stretch goal as an association is we want to have 10,000 fitness businesses registered in the FIC website. So we're going to go over the difference between being registered and actually being a business association membership. So we want people to simply say, hey, I'm a fitness business. And out of that, they will basically receive a monthly update of written newsletter type of a thing that updates them on the fitness industry. But of course, what that allows us to do as an association is to market to those leads as becoming members to help to make our association stronger and bigger and more powerful. But ultimately, we want fitness businesses to be registering with us. We want to have that database. We want to have those numbers. As we have known in this pandemic, having numbers and data is what will make us strong and will give us actually a really strong position with our provincial government and with our federal government. And it's something that as an industry, we can do a better job at. I think many of us probably can attest to, we don't really know how many fitness businesses there are, even in our community and even in our provinces. We're not totally sure of that top number. And some of those businesses are, single personal trainers, Personal Trainer Incorporated. But we want all those fitness businesses to be registered with the FIC. And so our wildly important goal that we want to achieve by the end of 2022 is to increase our business association membership from 545 clubs to 1,000 clubs in the next year. And there's some key strategies that we are going to take in order to do that. And one of those key strategies we're going to talk about a little bit later as we get into the business association memberships, but that is around all of us, including myself, who have multi-location businesses. We have an opportunity here to make a great impact in the fitness industry. So our first topic is advocacy. So as an association, what are we going to be focusing on for advocacy in 2022? We're going to drive new members to your business. We want to help to protect your bottom line, and we want to protect your reputation. And with all of those, we are also building advocacy for the fitness industry. So in order to drive new members to FIC, we need to have a strong sustainable trade association. We need to grow the membership here so that ultimately our voice gets bigger and stronger. I know that I'm reiterating this message, but it is a really important message. And I think that we all have the ability to, we all know people who could be joining our association. And I think that we all have to have a level of pride in what FIC has accomplished in the last 2 years. And as we go into the future, building membership, just like with all of our businesses, it has to be a priority of our association, or I believe that we will have greatly missed the mark. In our advocacy, we want to protect your bottom line. So we want to advocate for things that will help your business, okay? Things like continuing to advocate for the medical expense tax deduction, advocating for fair business practices, and that includes music licensing, something that Trish and I have been actively involved in just even recently here. Considering what does it take to make fitness essential? Is that something that our industry wants to do? And again, really, really looking at what are all of the pros and cons of that? What is the data telling us? And what can we learn globally from other groups who have made fitness essential? Making sure that we don't drive our industry forward in a way that could potentially be financially detrimental. And it's a really sensitive spot for us to be in. And so we want to look at what would the staffing requirements be if we were an essential service? How does that actually affect our fixed costs and our overhead? And how does that impact where we have a labor shortage? And we want to help to protect your reputation. I think that, again, one of the strengths that we have had is that in almost every province, we have been recognized to be able to have a seat with our provincial leaders. It may not be the seat that we wanted, but I think most of us have been able to have some type of correspondence. Federally, we have been able to have a seat. That FIC really is we should be proud, again, of what we have been able to achieve, and that we have been able to follow the guidelines and keep our members and staff safe. So we want to continue to protect your reputation. So that really means following our code of conduct, and making sure that everybody is aligned, has the right information. I think that's one of the things that I benefit in my business. I benefit from being part of our provincial coalitions in making sure I knew the right information. Right now, when we see in media people who are being called out for not following the passport system, or you name it, oftentimes it's they didn't have the right information. So there's so much power in us making sure that we protect your reputation by delivering to you the current information. So I would love to open it up. If anyone has any questions, again, please feel free to use the chat button, chat feature. I don't know if we have the raise hands function available to us, but if not, you could just unmute yourself and talk. But our 3 key areas in advocacy are to drive new members to the association, protect your bottom line, and protect your reputation. Everyone's just very excited about our advocacy.
Sarah, I can back up some support for the reputation piece. I think to your point of it's challenging for us, is the one that we talked about a lot. It's been challenging to us to know, when we're in crisis and post-crisis and where to go with that, and to support Sarah in this. There are conversations that our provincial leaders constantly have. What this has opened up for us in the last couple of years is we've realized how government sees fitness and how government and the public sees gyms. And we've got a lot of work to do in order to keep the seat at the table, have the right seats at the table, which part of us is considered business, which part of us is part of health or healthcare. And so that's the big piece that's there. And we, to your point, need to be as loud as, if not even louder, of the people we hire, the way that we run our businesses, and how we are instrumental in getting our country and its population out of this crisis and moving forward in a way that's more preventative. And so there's, knowing that 80%, 85% of the population doesn't know what we do, there's a lot of work that can be done there. And we now know what we have to work with. I don't think we had that before. We were very, staying in our own little castle and understanding what we did and really proud of what we did as an industry. But we've stepped out of that and have had a huge eye-opening as to how we're seen, and are excited and enthusiastic about moving forward with that.
Evelyn?
Yes, English is not my first language, as you know, but it's kind of I realized that the terminology of protect your reputation, I'm wondering if we want to protect our reputation or if we want to develop our reputation. Because for me, it's not the same action that you're doing when you're doing protection instead of saying developing. It's not the same game plan. So I'm wondering if it's the right terminology.
Interesting.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. And I think you're right. I think that, again, even as we have been able to step onto a national stage and have so much federal advocacy and develop relationships with the leaders of this country in the last year, we have been able to connect with other large associations and groups, and to sometimes hear what they say about the fitness industry has been a bit upsetting, like, no, that's not who we are. No, that's not what we represent. So you're right. It's that, are we trying to protect this idea of what people think the fitness industry is? Or do we need to develop a new reputation that matches where we are in today and who we truly are as a fitness industry, right? We are loving, caring people who truly want Canadians to be healthier, right? Yeah, thank you for that.
Yes, and we are the best place to make it happen. And this is what is really tough, because a lot of even if we look at kinesiology, they don't want to be in a gym, but why? Because it's the best place to be, to make your job and to accomplish your mission. So I think we need to develop our reputation, not only outside the field, but inside the field, because our own professional, they don't think it's the best place to optimize and use our passion and knowledge. So
thank you for that.
That's it.
Yes, thank you. Scott?
You know, I'm just looking on the call, and there's 37 people here today, and you know, from my conversations with everybody on this call, everybody here is a very passionate fitness professional and sees the big picture. And I think we all know people that have tagged along, for lack of better terms, or benefited from the work that we're doing, but they're okay sitting on the sidelines. And the bottom line is, we need people to get off the sidelines and get involved. They need to develop the industry. They need to ensure the industry. And we can't just do it with 37 people coming to a meeting. We can't do it with the amount of people we have today. So, you know, we're all really passionate about this. We need to have that passion spill out and bring other people to the fold. And that's what this whole thing is about, for us to be, you know, strong and sustainable. The hospitality industry got more because they're louder, they're bigger. They're in the back pocket of the people that make these decisions. So we have to get to that point, and we can't do it when we're 37 people strong. And it's no disrespect. I have only admiration for the people on this call, but we got to get more people involved.
And I think to Scott's point there, Carl here, you know, you look at the strategy here, 1, 2, and 3, the number 1 is drive new members, so that we can be as responsive and available to the government, whoever the policymakers are, to protect our bottom line. And so ensuring that we do have more people on calls like this is exactly right. To Scott's point, this is why we've gone with number 1 being drive new members, so that we can protect our bottom line and so that we can protect or build our reputation. It all comes down to the amount of support and resources we have available to us and the amount of weight that comes behind this organization, which has gotten stronger, but has room to grow, a lot of room to grow. And with that, a lot of potential. So realizing the potential will come through driving new members for sure.
Awesome, thank you. Tricia, is there anything in chat that we missed there?
I just saw that Mo was wondering what other, where we are getting, what was the question here? Sorry, I just scrolled up.
I can ask it. I just had a lot of noise around me.
Oh, no worries,
everyone. I just was curious when you mentioned, Sarah, about the FIC working with other associations similar to us, and what insights, like who do we speak to get the insights from their place in the world? But Tricia did answer it. They have the opportunity to connect with associations such as Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, China, Spain, Brazil, et cetera. That's pretty impressive. And I think that's important to actually bring some of those best practices forward, because it lends some insight, but also some confidence to what other countries may be doing that has worked, has not worked, because that will add credibility to some of the potential ideas we bring forward or decisions we'd like to make, being that we've studied best practices from those various organizations. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mo. And one thing I'll even add to that, and if we recall back when we were looking for people to come along with us and be allies in our medical exemption ASCA of the government, that we went out to large organizations to say, hey, will you kind of be a champion of our cause here? And we got positive responses. But I won't forget the response that we got from Obesity Canada. And Obesity Canada said, The fitness industry doesn't help our people. The fitness industry is one of our biggest problems, and we cannot support this because we don't believe that the fitness industry is working with our population. And I think that that was really hard to hear. And I think that, again, taking a health perspective at the recovery, we have to mend that relationship with Obesity Canada, but we have to, that is an optics issue. That is a reputation issue that we have to fix. And it's not okay that an entire organization believes that the fitness industry is on the other side of the table than obesity management and prevention. That's not okay. So unless there's anything else, I'm going to move into our next topic.
I see, Deanna, you're talking about elections and more members voting. Are you mentioning the FIC voting status or just elections in general?
I think it's educating our membership base, so our actual members, and really reaching out to them and gaining trust with them and gaining their support so that they're making decisions in their voting practices that support fitness and health. I don't want to speak for you, Deanna, but.
Oh, it's fine. It's just we have thousands of members. They need to be loud because the politicians want to always be voted in. That's what it comes down to, guys, is votes. And so if our members are loud that are training, that will get us a bigger push as well. So I think that's really important to keep our members being loud, and because our members don't want us to close ever. So, you know, you have to kind of go after the people that are using our facilities, that are loving fitness. It's really disheartening hearing about this, what you just mentioned with obesity. That makes me very sad. And I don't understand their train of thought, or maybe you can explain that more. That's awful, actually.
And not to kind of distract us too much from moving forward here, but really what they were saying was that they don't believe that the fitness community has been an inclusive community for people with obesity, or has truly championed their ability to exercise. And I disagree, Deanna. You know the business I'm in. I know your business, right? Yeah, but this is their optic. This is their optic.
Well, then that's our members coming forward that have gone through a major change, and which we all have coming forward. So yeah.
Great. I love that. Thank you.
Sarah, I just have a quick question. Just since I'm new being lead in Manitoba here, I guess that one of the things you said we're going through together with all the leads will be trying to drive new membership and stuff like that. Here, I know before I became a member with FIC, there was no push. I knew nothing about what Manitoba Fitness or the Canadian Fitness Council or Manitoba Fitness Council actually had done for us. So I'm willing to put it all in right now to get as many as we can on board through, well, everywhere, I guess, because I've already spoke to someone in Toronto who wants in with the FIC. But where do we have all that information that we can give them, all the benefits, all that that's coming up? I see you guys shaking it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting ahead of the
thank
game.
you. No, thank you, Amber. And it is so important. So in terms of driving new members to our association, don't worry, that's not like we're just saying it and then going, okay, hopefully everybody does that and we see some type of a result. We do have a plan and a process that we will be following, supporting, and all of the provincial council leads will have a strategy and an understanding. How many members do you have in your province? What do you need to get to so that we can achieve the 1,000, right? So that it's not like, okay, well, I think if we get 5 members, we contributed. We are going to be trickling that down. And out of our national strategy here, we are going to have provincial strategies, right? Every province has to have its own unique provincial strategy that will funnel up to this. So you will absolutely be supported in that, Amber. And we're going to share some of that information with you moving forward. Partnerships is a huge strength of our association. It makes us bigger. It gives us a bigger voice. And many of them are a value add to you as our membership. And, you know, ultimately, we want everyone to have as much access. That doesn't mean that every single partnership is going to be, you know, a golden ticket for each and every one of us. I understand that. But ultimately us building partnerships for 3 reasons: affinity partnerships, amplifying our impact across Canada, and to help us solve this labor shortage that I'm sure many of us are experiencing. So in terms of our affinity partnerships, we have strong partnerships already. Our goal is that we are committed to getting 3 more affinity partners in the coming year. And those, we have kind of a short list of organizations that we want to talk to, but we want to continue to grow the FIC extended family, because we want to throw a really, really big Thanksgiving dinner and have everybody there, if you know what I mean, right? This is the extended family strategy, and we need a bigger extended family. Why? Because it means that those associations know about us, or those organizations know about us. It means that we can contribute to them and they can contribute to us in some way. And we believe that all of them add value to you as a member. So our current affinity partners are Prescription to Get Active, CanFit Pro, CFIB, Manitoba Fitness Council, URSA, and FitBiz Weekly. And again, I really encourage, if anyone out there has not been reading FitBiz Weekly, that has such great information. There is some guerrilla tactics that came out this week, just some really great articles that are being written. And I encourage you, as our FIC members, we are the voice of the fitness industry. If you have content that you are passionate about, that you are writing, make sure that we get that out and that we represent FIC with publishing our own content. So as we move into 2022, continuing to build our affinity partnership network. Amplifying our impact. So we want to continue to have other resources available for our FIC Business Association members. And again, we're going to talk about that in a moment. What's the difference between a registered business and a business association member? I will give you a sneak peek in that all of us here are business association members, but we want to be able to provide, you know, education sessions, conventions, events, everything that we can do to provide you with more value, and really give that kind of halo effect that partnerships can create. So again, we have that amazing partnership. I'll use CanFit Pro. Thank you, Mo, who we have this lovely partnership where we have at the CanFit Pro conference, we always have some type of FIC event, speaker, presentation, and that gets us out in front of fitness professionals that go, I never knew about FIC before. And we can say, yeah, we're pretty amazing, and you should probably be here with us because this is the place to be, and YOLO, right? Okay, so, but amplifying our impact through all of these other ways that we can have these kind of back and forth relationships in order to grow. And it also means that, you know, discounts for FIC members in order to attend these types of conventions and events and so forth. So this is just, again, the halo effect for our FIC members and for value. Solving the labor shortage. Again, our business association members are the ones who are known for following our code of conduct. And we want to use the reputation that we are going to develop, Evelyn, a better reputation that we are going to develop to help us in order to solve the labor shortage, so that ultimately we want it to be that when people are looking for where should I be working in the fitness industry, that they can go, hey, I want to work at a place that is an FIC member. I want to go and work at a business that is following this code of conduct, that does know what's the latest and the greatest. Because I will tell you that I've heard so many stories of staff who are saying, oh yeah, I work at this fitness facility and I'm so nervous about going to work because the owners, they don't really understand the vaccine status, and we're doing this wrong. And I got yelled at the other day. They don't have the information in order to truly have a great experience as an employee. And so how can we as the FIC create this opportunity for people to say, I want to work at an FIC member club, facility, boutique studio, you name it. So again, in reviewing partnerships, it's about affinity partnerships growing by 3 affinity partnerships in the next year, amplifying our impact across those partnerships, and helping to solve the labor shortage. Any questions on these topics?
Yeah, I got one, Sarah.
Yeah.
Do you think the labor shortage is going to be like a major issue with like not the CERB, but the individual supports being ended, as well as with the wage subsidies being ended and the rent subsidies, that there's going to be closures of all kinds of businesses. So there's going to be a lot more people in the market looking for jobs.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be the balance of that, as well as the balance of, we have industries who had to start to pay their employees more and give them more benefits. And you even look at what Starbucks is doing and organizations like that, where now is it better for someone to work at a Starbucks than to be a trainer in a studio? Maybe, right? Is it easier to maybe work at Starbucks? I don't know. I mean, that comes down to the person's passion and where they want to work, but we're not even now just competing with fitness and who's available to us in fitness. We're now competing like servers at many restaurants. I know I've spoken to a few managers who are saying we're paying people $5 more an hour just so we could maintain a workforce. They can't now go and reduce those people's pay. So what does that mean for us? That might mean that it's better for someone to go and be a server and have tips than it is for them to work in fitness. So these are all of the things we don't know. We have to, again, raise our profile, raise our reputation, and we need it to be that people say, I want to work at an FIC membership club. We're not there right now. This is what we need to achieve, right? So that all of us benefit.
Yeah, and Sarah, just to add to that, Jeff, I know we've had discussions that this staffing shortage could flip itself on its head, but the other side of that is, one, we don't obviously want gyms to start shutting down, but it's inevitable that some will. You know, the concern there is are those staff going to feel comfortable going back to fitness facilities for their employment? Are they looking for more sustainability or consistency in their employment? Is fitness what they look to go to after their employer shuts down because they can't get through the end of this pandemic? So that's what we're looking at as well in terms of building our reputation, right? Is that we want people right back. And Natalie inspired me on this point and challenged me on this point when we were going through this process. And it opened my eyes to the fact, like, we need to, like, I look at really old people, like I described Dave Hardy, right? And Patch and these guys that have done so much for our industry over the years. And now look at really young, attractive people like myself. We really have to put it on ourselves to start identifying what we need to do to keep this fitness and this industry going. And I think that is the biggest contributor we can all come together as a group and as a team and do, is really support the industry by inspiring people to come back and work in this industry. And it will challenge all of us over the next few years, but we need to identify where we are going wrong, where we have gone wrong, and what we can do to fix those things. And I think we can only do that as an industry as a whole. And so we need to continue to come together as we've been doing, as opposed to start becoming really competitive, which is going to be our nature, and start separating. We can continue to be competitive, but also we can be mature and see the potential threat 2, 5, 10 years, 15 years from now to our industry. I think we can put competition aside sometimes and really come together and communicate on some of these things and commit to certain practices that will help support our industry.
I agree with you, Carl. We have to come together. We can't compete. There's enough people not physically fit. We all can be successful. But you know, they are leaving the fitness or the restaurant industry in droves. They're having a hard time finding people who want to go back and serve and be up to 2 in the morning working in that bar scene. They would way rather work in a fitness studio. One thing we're doing at head office with 30-minute hit is really profiling what our trainers do and what a great opportunity it is to work there. And I would be happy to share what we're doing, and working with Workstream is a place where we find a lot of our employees. And you have to look good. Like, you have to be able to have and area when you're looking for workers that they see, oh my God, this would be an incredible job. I would have so much satisfaction from this job, and show them what it's like. You know, just putting an ad up doesn't cut it anymore, guys. So
yeah, thank you, Deanna, and I'll definitely reach out. I'd love to learn more about that from you. Scott, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just want to share that our conversations in Alberta provincially with the government, we have a Ministry of Jobs, Economy and Innovation, and they've approached us, and we're actually in conversations about a potential tax credit, potential messaging to inspire people to come back to gyms, but it's not through the lens of healthcare. It's through the lens of getting people back to work. And in our industry, we've seen people leave the industry because they got tired of open and closed and open and close, and what's the rule of the week, and I can train a client but I got to be 10 feet away wearing a mask and all this stuff. So you can see why they're tired of it all, but the reality is a lot of them are still working in the industry, but just under the table, right? My trainer left the company, or my parents' trainer left the company. She trains them in their basement once a week for cash. Right. So the conversation with Alberta is getting these people to have confidence in our industry again, so they can either create a real business or, you know, come back to a studio or a facility. But, you know, they've just been kind of shell shocked. And so that's kind of the conversation. It's all tied into what we're doing, lobbying government, right? It's all interconnected. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah. And I know that just in the last week, how much you've been able to move forward your conversations in Alberta. So I know, very exciting, and congratulations on that. And I love that it's attacking the labor shortage. Love it. Evelyn?
Sorry. I think that it all goes back to, again, reputation, like we were saying before. It's like the reputation at the level of the government, at the general population, at the professional of our industries that are not respecting necessarily or seeing all the advantage of the gyms, and reputation of our own members that don't see that they can actually turn their passion into their work. And I think it's all that. That's why for me, in the plan that you're proposing, for me, reputation is huge. It's all about that right now. It's all about, and reputation is not to see if people love or don't love us, if they see the utility that we have in the society and how we are the right place to where it should happen. So for me, it's all around the reputation, and I'm going to be willing to work on reputation with you guys.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No.
Okay, I'm going to move forward here. So our last area here is infrastructure. And I think that it's important for us to talk about infrastructure because I think all of us can say that we really looked forward to our provincial coalition calls, and that's where there's a lot of really, really meaningful information. And again, I believe even just from Scott's example or the work that Scott's been able to do in Alberta, we wouldn't have been at the table to have these types of conversations if we hadn't just gone through a pandemic and knocked on doors and knocked on doors and knocked on doors and said, we are the fitness industry, listen to us. We have a big voice here. And we have provinces who were able to lean on us. I know that in British Columbia, the province actually was leaning on us to educate fitness facilities on how to use a vaccine passport. We need to continue to make sure that our provincial power is very, very strong. So strength in numbers. So again, we want to have, and I want to be very clear, we want fitness businesses to register with FIC. That is literally just a form fill. I'm a fitness business, I'm registered. That is for us to have data, information, and to be able to market to those people to hopefully become a member. The option for membership within our association is the business association membership. Again, that's what all of us are today. And we want it to be that we learn from each other. So Deanna just gave a great example around staffing and what she's doing at 30-minute hit. Maybe there's a roundtable event that other people who say, I want to learn from Deanna, she can host something and people attend that. We want to use our internal intel. We are intelligent people. We want to use our own brains. And then people can go, how do I use that for my own brand? Because ultimately, if we all bring people back to our industry, we will all benefit, right? We can all learn from what Deanna was sharing, and we can all implement that in our own business. Matchmaking type networking, where maybe we have somebody who can, it's almost like a mentorship, or people who are working on similar issues. How can we create that teamwork? And simply ally building, so that you always have a friend that you can call in the fitness industry. And something that I often say about franchising that I think that really applies to us in FIC is that ultimately you want to know that any community that you go to in Canada, you have a friend in the FIC in that community that you can call up, that you can lean on, that you can talk to, that you can pick up the phone and say, this is where I'm struggling. I heard you and you're across the country from me, but I heard you talk about this and I'd love to learn more. Those are the opportunities where we can really share and grow. The number of conversations that I've had in the last year and a half simply around that, from hearing somebody say one little thing on a call and I go, wow, that's absolutely something I need support in. We have an amazing opportunity to learn from each other in that way. Membership growth. So we really want to make sure that we are proud FIC members. How can we display that? We want to give you all of the tools necessary for your business to display on your website, on the doors of your business, that you are an FIC member, so that people build that confidence. Again, where are we seeing hesitation in people coming back to the fitness industry? People are worried about safety. People are still worried about all of the perceived issues that they thought existed in our industry. They're not real issues, but they're perceived. We need to build, we have a code of ethics. I'm an FIC facility, therefore I am following some type of organizational conduct, and I am a safe facility. So we have our FIC membership different kind of levels here, or channels. So a registered business is $0, but simply all they're doing is filling out a form and saying, hey, I'm a business. But for us, we have to have a call to action across Canada for that, right? So that, you know, I saw someone earlier in chat saying, hey, I travel across Canada and I talk to all of these fitness clubs as a vendor. It really is your responsibility to be registered with the association that represents you, and to be updated on what's going from advocacy to partnerships to infrastructure to see. It gives us the ability to then draw in more members. And so we have these different types of memberships. What I really want to highlight today is that we have built a classification around multi-location clubs. And I think this is really, really important, because this is, our voice is stronger when every single location of every single fitness business is part of the association. That we don't just have one head office who is a business association member, and that we kind of say, oh, well, the other locations, they're not going to be members. And I will speak up even about my company as Live Well Exercise Clinic. When I first joined FIC, that's exactly what I did. I joined as one location, and kind of that was it. But moving forward, and again, I'll continue on the example of my company. What I am doing now is that I am actually, on a monthly basis, I am invoicing with my royalties all of my clubs, their FIC membership, and I am doing one transaction to FIC. And I encourage and I challenge everyone out there who owns multi-location businesses to do the same, to keep it to one transaction. That is where you benefit from this scalability. So if all of your clubs are going to pay independently, and you say, okay, well, I have, 30 clubs and 15 of them are willing to pay, but 15 don't want to be members. I think that is a leadership decision then to say, well, those 15 clubs, they're all going to pay the $40 of an individual transaction at each of those clubs, or you can choose to do one transaction and work internally to say there's only 15 clubs. Again, I really believe that we have this opportunity to say, this is an obligation. We are in the fitness industry and we believe that this is our responsibility for every single location across Canada to be part of our association. And so that's where we have created this trickle down structure. And so one of the best ways that we can grow is for all of us who do own multi-location brands to put up their hand and say, yeah, I'm in, I'll do a transaction and I will work that out internally with my own brand. That's what I have done, and it's been simple. It's actually been received really well by our franchisees as I am able to deliver information. And it doesn't mean that they even have to get on the calls. They can and they should be active members, but they don't have to. But I do believe it is our obligation as fitness business owners at every single location that we have to be a member of FIC. That is where we will have the greatest power, the greater voice, and I believe therefore the greatest outcome. And provincial power. So again, this is about building an infrastructure for us provincially. Again, we're going to take this national strategy and every province is then going to have a provincial strategy. What do we need to do for partnerships in our provinces? What do we need to do to drive membership? How many members do we have? How many members do we need as a province? So that how many members do we need adds up to 1,000 at the end of 2022 so that we can actually achieve our national goal. And we will be providing all of our PC leaders with a template and a way to run meetings that we believe are meaningful, that provide insight, information, and that stick to the 3 key areas that we will be working on this year. So again, to review infrastructure, we have strength in numbers, membership growth, and provincial power. Do we have any questions on infrastructure?
I just wanted to note that for those of you who are wanting a one-pager of benefits of FIC, who FIC is, what it means to be a member, and the fee structure, it is available in the chat. And I will send it out again at the end of this meeting with the video recording of the meeting.
Thanks, Tricia. Okay, so if there's no more questions on infrastructure, and we can come back to it if somebody all of a sudden does have one, in terms of next steps, what can we take away from our strategic plan here? Number one is we need people to be active members of FIC, saying, I care, I have a voice. We are all extremely intelligent. All of us who are here have showed immense resilience, and we have so much to offer each other. And I think all of us can say that we would be willing to take a phone call to help anyone in need in our industry. And that's exactly what this is. How do I become an active member? If you say there was something that we talked about on today's strategic plan that either got you really excited or got you a bit infuriated, in either of those emotions, I ask you to be an active member on those topics and to email Tricia and say, I want to be part of that because I want to be part of change and I want to be part of developing a better reputation for the fitness industry so we can draw members back and we can draw staff back. The transition to the FIC fee structure, it starts immediately and it will be in effect by January 1st, 2022. So we will be taking immediate steps to move towards that. And we are the FIC value proposition. It has been revised. And again, as Tricia mentioned, it's that one pager that is in the chat. Please take a look at that. And out of this, again, we will be meeting with all of the provincial leads. So on a provincial level, you will be hearing more about this. And if you are somebody who wants to be more active on a provincial level, please either reach out to your provincial council lead or to Tricia and let us know. We are always looking for more and more active members. So that is the end of the share of our strategic plan for 2022. I believe that, again, where we can really be powerful is in accumulating all of these strategies, driving data that is meaningful, collecting the data from all of our membership as that grows, driving that data into one source and ensuring that we can have an output of really, really strong Canadian data. I mean, Aaron and I can attest that last night I was on CBC The National, and I can actually post that into the chat here if any of you did not see that. But last night I was on CBC The National, and you know, they want to know numbers. They want to know, where did you get these numbers? What are the numbers? What are Canadian numbers? How many gyms are open, closed? How many are about to close? Like, they want to know numbers. We have to be the voice of accurate data for the fitness industry. So continuing to put all of these things together so that we can have that output, I think, is really, really powerful for any of the things that we are trying to do. I know that even for Scott in his conversations with Alberta, he was able to take some data from one of our recent polls to actually say, this is what Canadians say about fitness tax credits, right? That's really powerful when we go to a provincial government and we have that data. So I will end my presentation there. If anyone has any other questions, I will open it up to it. I thank everybody for listening. We welcome your feedback. The FIC is an association for all of us. It is all of our voice. You have only elected me as president because that was your decision, but I am just the conduit of everyone's aggregated voice. So please share with us if you believe we've missed the mark somewhere, not presented something, or if you want to show your support for something and become an active member. We would love to hear from you. Okay, well, thank you everyone then for joining us. We will be sharing this recording out shortly to everyone who did not attend. And we look forward to seeing you on all of our next provincial calls, where we'll be diving deeper into this on a more localized provincial level. So thank you, everyone. Tricia, is there anything else that you wanted to say today?
No, just wrapping up, and I do wanted to thank you for mentioning the fact that we need data. I know Susan had asked about data before. We did do a few polls, and we have asked the government to support us with collecting data as well. But in order to continue doing our own research, we do, again, need those memberships to come in so we can fund the research projects, which we ultimately will support us in what we strive towards. So thank you for that. Oh, and one more note to end us off with is FIC has a new feature. Our Vice President, Nathalie Lacombe, is offering to FIC members a Look Who's Hiring piece, which is a segment she does on social media to highlight different FIC member clubs, to show them really just that they're hiring, and again, it connects in with the labor shortage there. So we did send out an email this morning, so hopefully you've all received it, and we can connect again, and feel free to connect with Nathalie to get yourself featured as an FIC member, and let potential employees know that you are looking.
And maybe as a final note, we can remind people that next week is the CanFit Pro Business and Leadership Conference on November 12th. So if you, Mo, I don't know if you're still on here and if you had a few words you wanted to say about that, but as one of our strong, loyal affinity partners, the CanFit Pro conference is a great opportunity for everybody. And we do have FIC presentations. So Mo?
Thank you, Sarah, for that. Appreciate it. Yes, we have close to 800 delegates registered for our last online event of the year, and it is next Friday, all day, as Sarah mentioned. The FIC will be sponsoring two really unique sessions. One, of course, is the state of the industry around how we engage in the sales process within introducing new members and those returning back into the clubs as well. The FIC will also be sporting another topic that just is about just the future career opportunities. So really join us if you haven't yet registered, and do know that as a business member, you do have the opportunity to register at a discounted rate, depending on your membership level. We'd love to see you there. And as was said so well, we really need you to be there, to be in the room, to show up, be seen, and to participate in the conversation. So we do appreciate that. And thank you for all your support of our online events throughout 2021. We look forward to having a live in-person FIC session, and I've picked up some ideas already I'm going to bring forward to the team. Please mark your calendars for August the 10th through the 14th, 2022 in Toronto. And we look forward to having one of the best parties with all of you.
Sarah,
Awesome. Yes.
I posted the YouTube link in the chat for anyone who wants to see it from the CBC. And honestly, guys, from a media standpoint, Sarah and I were discussing this today, there's really no such thing as bad press right now for our industry. You know, the bold statements everyone's making, is one angle that we've been taking is, I don't know how much Canadians understand what we do, the essential nature of the fitness and health industry, right? That we are here to save the lives of Canadians. Take that YouTube link. If you've been struggling as an independent to get some media, take that YouTube link, send it to media. Send it to media. They will interview you. We piggyback media stories with other media stories. That's what I've been doing today. So reach out to me directly if you want to. I'm more than happy to help out in any way that I can. But we need more media for this fitness industry. We really do.
Thanks, Erin. Thank you, everybody. I know we've gone a bit over time, but wishing you a lovely weekend, and see you all on our next call. Thanks, everyone.